Okay, so this example deals with writing a file or creating a file. We start the same way, include stdio, and we're going to introduce a few new items in this example. The first one being file, which is a data type or a type, and it's going to be a pointer here. So we have a pointer called file underscore ptr. We have a star in front of it because it's a pointer, and it's a type of file. So it's not a character, it's not integer, it's a type file. Okay, and we have characters which we're going to write to that file, and these characters are going to be it's going to be called text, and it's going to be like an array, and it's going to have 50 elements or 50 characters, and we're going to have a counter int I, which is the counter that we've always used in previous examples for looping and so on. And we're going to start the file underscore ptr equals fopen. Fopen is a function which will be used to create a file for reading, writing and so on. And here we put the name of the file as chars.txt. We can change that and we can call it sammy.txt, and it's gonna open it, and we use the W, the operator W, to write to the file. If we're gonna read, we put an R. Okay, which we'll do that in the next example. But here we're just gonna write to it. So we do a condition. If file pointer is not null, that means the actual point where it's pointing, it isn't returning as it's not returning anything at all. That means null means 0 basically, or even less than 0. It means nothing at all. Okay, that means this was unsuccessful. Okay, so as long as it's not unsuccessful, it's not null, it did create something, there is a value, then start, open this and set printf, print chars.txt. we change the file name, we're going to call it sammy.txt, created. Okay, and if it's created successfully, then the next thing to do is to start the loop, to start writing to the file now. So for I equals 0, we start initializing the I value of 0, and then text with I, that means text and then 0, so we're referring to the 0 element in the array, which is t, and then we increment I by 1. Okay, so I now is going to be 1, and we say fput c, which is the function that we use to write to the file, and we put the text.I, which we're referring to here, 0 element here, and we put the pointer as well, file pointer. So whatever the value where it's pointing here will be written to the file pointer is the sammy.txt w to write. So we have the value t being written inside the file called sammy.txt. Okay, and it just goes again, and this time it goes to I is going to be 1, text 1, which is referring to the E element, and it increments I by 1 again, and this time once again fputs, it would start inserting the E inside the file name, which is called sammy.txt, as you can see here. So fput f underscore ptr is this here, okay, which is referring to this file name here, and it's writing to it because W. So now it writes the E, and then next he goes loops again, xt, and so on until it completes the whole sentence. And once it goes up to here and there's nothing more, it's completed reading the entire array of characters, it will then exit, and then it would close. So you close by using the function called fclose. Okay, and then you put the file name or the pointer or the variable which holds the file name into here. In this case it's called file underscore ptr, which is holding sammy.txt and the W for writing. So it would stop that and it would exit. Now if this was unsuccessful, that means it couldn't create the file, it couldn't execute this line for whatever reason. Then we have the else condition and saying, right, print unable to create file, and it would stop there. But if it can create it, it would print this out to indicate to us that yes, the file has been created, therefore it's going to move on to the next stage, which is writing to the file. Okay, so let's see that at work, and then we'll look at reading from the file. So what we're going to do, we're going to build. Okay, we have a problem. What's the problem? It says here incompatible type is initialize char text and 50 text 1 ... Okay, so let's have a look at what we have to do here. So let's look at that. Okay, so I've seen where the mistake was. We had the curly brace here, and we had another curly brace here, and for some reason it just couldn't understand it. So basically that was not correct. The way we should have done it is we are defining it as a character, and it's going to be text, and it's going to be 50 characters. We don't need to put this curly brace around here. Okay, we just write the string, assign the string into there, and it would be divided as into elements of characters, and we just put the quotation marks on the side here. And if we run that now, it should work. So we click on build. Yes, it works fine. And now what we do is we go to the command prompt and we type write char file, as you can see here, and it says file sammy.txt is created. And if we type sammy.txt, it says text comma 1 character at a time, just like up here, text 1 character at a time. So it's exactly the same. Now we're gonna write the example to read the actual text file that we've created. So here is the way we do it. We start the same way again. We create a character variable called next, and we create a pointer called file underscore ptr, which is the type file, data type file, and we assign the same way as we're writing, except this time we put the R. So, but we're gonna now write Sammy, because we changed the name into sammy.txt. So it should now open this file and read the content, and we do the test again to see if it actually did successfully find the file and did actually open it. So we have the file pointer, and we say not equals to null. That means not equal to nothing. As long as it's not unsuccessful, then it would open up the condition and it will print file chars.txt. In this case we're going to change it into Sammy, because we've changed this example now. Sammy.txt opened, so now it's open, and the contents of that file starts a new line here. So this would be in the second line, contents, and then we used something called the while loop, okay, which we did an example on before, and we say 1. That means there is some characters inside, at least one character in the file. Okay, so it would loop until it finds no more characters, until it finds 0. So while and then it goes to 0, that means there's no characters in the file, and it would exit. And we put next, so which we have the character next, and that takes in the character that the file pointer is pointing to, and it basically f gets c. That will get the actual value of file pointers where it's pointing at the actual value, and put it into next. So it should take the first character that it finds in the file and put it into the variable called next. Okay, so that's reading the text one by one, and it's looping using the while loop, and it keeps doing the check if next not equal to end of file. That means as long as the next the character that it took isn't the end of the file, then keep printing. So now it would print the character, or you know, that it's inside next. It'll print it, and we put %c because it's a character type, not an integer, and it will print the next. Else, if it is the end of the file, it break, you know, just stop, exit, terminate the program if we reach the end, and it will just keep looping that way. Okay, and now we close the file just like we showed you when we're writing in the file. We're closing it, and we close it at the point, the end point of the file, which is file pointer, with the last part of it, the end of the file. It stops there and it closes that there. So there you go, it closes Sammy txt, that line there. This is what's inside, that's what's inside the file pointer, this section here, and it stops it here. Else, if all this was not successful, that means unsuccessful, or in creating or writing or whatever, here this statement is not true, then it would go to the else and it would say unable to open file. That means it couldn't find the file to open it, therefore it would exit. So now we're going to try running it and see what happens. So we click on build, build completed, and now what did we call it? We called it read file, reading file. Okay, so click on that, and it says file sammy.txt is opened, contents is text, 1 character at a time. So now we've done the reading up here, writing, and we've done the reading as well here. So writing, done this, created the file, and it didn't show us the content. We had to type sammy.txt, and it gave us the actual content of it. But we also now wrote a program to read the file called reading file, and it opened the file sammy.txt, and it tells us the content is text, comma, 1 character at a time. So that's that function of this program here.